Hello students, in this video of ours, we are going to learn about the first kingdom of the 5 kingdom classification which was given by Whittaker, that is Monera. Monera is exclusively is the kingdom of bacteria. All bacteria are present in this kingdom Monera. And the characteristic features of this kingdom are, first of all, they are unicellular organisms. They are having prokaryotic cell. That means in the cell, we do not find a well-defined nucleus. We also do not find membrane-bound organelles. There is a cell which is covered by a cell wall, but the membrane-bound organelles are absent. Nucleus is absent. That's why it is a primitive cell which is called prokaryotic cell. And here you will find diverse forms of bacteria. Bacteria you can find anywhere. All kind of, we cannot say that this is the particular habitat of a bacteria. You will find bacteria everywhere. Deep in the sea, in hot springs, extreme temperatures, extreme salinity, extreme waterlogging, moist places, all kind of places you will find bacteria. And this resistance in bacteria is given to them by their cell wall. Monera. So, as I told you, Monera is basically the kingdom of bacteria. All bacteria are kept in this kingdom Monera. And they are the most abundant microorganisms. You will find many bacteria in different kind of habitats. They live in extreme habitats such as hot springs, deserts, snow, deep oceans. You will find them anywhere. And many of them, they live inside us and they are as parasites. So in many of them, the mode of nutrition is parasitic. They are surviving in the body of the host and taking their food from the host and harming the host. Then bacteria are grouped under 4 categories based on their shape. Now, what is the shape? Can you see these diagrams? 4 diagrams. They can be circular, the spherical, that is called cocci, coccus. Then rod-shaped is called bacillus, comma-shaped is called vibrium, and the spiral is called spirillum. So 4, we can divide the kingdom Monera into the 4 types of bacteria as per their shapes: cocci, bacillus, spirillum, and vibrium. Because vibrium is the comma-shaped structure, spirillum is the spiral structure, bacillus is the rod-shaped structure, and cocci is the spherical structure. So as per their shapes, they can be divided into these 4. Now these, if we see the nutrition, mode of nutrition in bacteria, they are autotrophic. Autotrophic means they are capable of synthesizing their own food, and they are capable of synthesizing their own food, one, from the inorganic substrates. They are using the inorganic substrates such as nitrates, nitrites, ammonia. They oxidize them and then the released energy is utilized by them. So that's why they are called chemosynthetic bacteria. So they can be chemosynthetic autotrophic when they are using the chemicals as a substrate to get their energy. Some of them are photosynthetic autotrophic. Photosynthetic, as the name suggests, they are using the sunlight to synthesize their food. So some of them are photosynthetic and some of them are chemosynthetic. The most of them, some of them are autotrophic, but most of them are heterotrophic. That means they do not synthesize their own food, but they depend on other organisms or the dead organic matter for their food. So many of, if we see the mode of nutrition in kingdom Monera, mode of nutrition in bacteria. Some of them are autotrophic, but many of them are heterotrophic. Now, Monera can be divided into two groups. This division, this classification is done on the basis of the difference in the cell wall. Archaebacteria and Eubacteria. Archaebacteria are the bacteria which are the most resistant type of bacteria, which can be found in most harsh habitats, such as extremely salty areas, that is halophiles, hot spring, that is thermoacidophiles, then marshy areas, methanogens. Archaebacteria differ from other bacteria in having a different cell wall structure. Here, the cell wall is normally the bacteria is having the cell wall which is consisting of other chemicals also, which make them very resistant for the extreme kind of habitats in which they are surviving. So, Archaebacteria group of bacteria are having a different kind of cell wall structure, and this feature is responsible for their survival in extreme conditions. Methanogens are present in the gut of several ruminant animals. Ruminant, they are responsible for the production of methane. So you will find these methanogens bacteria, which are archaebacteria, in the guts of the cows and buffaloes, which are ruminant animals, and they are responsible for the methane. We get gobar, and from gobar we get biogas. So biogas, the main constituent of biogas is methane. There is methane, there is hydrogen sulfide, there is hydrogen, it is a combination of many gases, but the main component of biogas is methane. So that's why they are called methanogens, from the dung of these animals. Dung is what? Gobar. So these are the archaebacteria. Now, if we see the eubacteria, they are also called true bacteria, and the majority of them are there, and they are different from the archaebacteria because they have a different kind of cell wall, and here they are characterized by the presence of a rigid cell wall, and they can be motile, they can be sessile. Sessile means at one place, fixed at one place, and they can be motile. So if they are motile, if they are moving with the help of the flagellum. And some of these organisms, they can fix atmospheric nitrogen, because since present in the soil or present in the leguminous plants with the roots of the leguminous plants, and they are fixing the atmospheric nitrogen. So this fixation of atmospheric nitrogen is done by some of the bacteria, and those bacteria which are fixing the nitrogen, they are having special cells for fixing of nitrogen in their cells, and these cells are called heterocytes. So heterocytes, this is very important 1 mark question. What are the cells which are responsible for nitrogen fixation? So heterocytes are the cells which are responsible for the fixation of nitrogen, and examples are nostoc and anabina. Now they play a great role in recycling nitrogen cycle, phosphorus cycle, iron and sulfur. So many nutrients are being recycled in the nature by the action of these bacteria. Now heterotrophic bacteria are the most abundant in nature. As I told you, there are some which are autotrophic, but majority of them are heterotrophic, and majority of them are decomposers. So they are playing a very important role in our environment, in cleaning of our environment. Suppose think about the environment where the plants and animals are dying and no one is there to eat them or to decompose them and to convert them into a reusable form. So the world will be full of sick and the world would not be a place to live. So the majority of these bacteria, they are performing this vital role of cleaning up the environment by decomposition, by the process of decomposition, where they are converting the organic matter into the inorganic matter, and with the help of this decomposition, the nutrients are again back into the environment for the recycling. Many of them have a significant impact on human affairs. In human welfare also, many of the bacteria are friendly bacteria. What are the friendly bacteria? First of all, every day we are having curd with our meal. So this curd is because of the bacteria. Lactobacillus. Lactobacillus is the bacteria which is helping in the formation of curd, which is there. We are putting some inoculum, 1 teaspoon in the milk and mixing it. So the bacteria will reproduce and will form the curd. Now curd is more nutritive than milk. Of curd, formation of antibiotics, fixing of nitrogen, of the atmospheric nitrogen. Fixing means what? Fixing of nitrogen means converting the atmospheric nitrogen into nitrates, nitrites, ammonia into the usable form, which the plant can take. The plant cannot take the atmospheric nitrogen which is present in the atmosphere. The plants can take only the compounds of the nitrogenous compounds, and conversion of nitrogen into nitrogenous compounds is called nitrogen fixation, and that is done by the bacteria. So nitrogen fixation, they are helping in the production of many antibiotics which we are using in the medicines, then in the production of vaccines, then in the production of many industrial products, and then when the acids are formed, the industrial products which are used for many industrial consumption products are formed by the bacteria. But they are not only useful, they are harmful as well. Some of them are pathogens. Pathogens means they cause diseases. So pathogen is the term which is used for the disease causing organism. So some of the bacteria are pathogens. They are causing damage to the human beings. You must be remembering when there is a stomach upset, that is caused by the bacterial infection. It may be caused by the bacterial infection. And many bacteria, they are pathogens which are causing diseases in human beings, crops, farm animals, and pets. For example, cholera, typhoid, tetanus, citrus canker, this is the disease of plant, are well-known diseases which are caused by different bacteria. Now, how do bacteria reproduce? Bacteria reproduce by fission, binary fission. That is the asexual reproduction, where the union of gametes is not taking place. Only one bacteria is dividing into two by cell division, mitosis, cell division. And it is called binary fission because from one bacteria, one parent bacteria, you will get two daughter bacteria. And the reproduction is so fast. Like you see how the curd is formed. Curd will take only 4 to 5 hours to get set. So that means in 4 to 5 hours, millions of bacteria are formed. That's why the milk get converted into curd. So they divide by asexual reproduction, which is called binary fission. And in binary fission, they divide into two. The genetic material divides and then the cell divides into two. That is called binary fission. But when there are unfavorable conditions, what they do, they will, inside the cell wall only, they will keep on producing spores by mitosis, cell division. So many spores are formed inside the cell wall, and when the favorable conditions arrive, this cell wall bursts and these spores are released into the air, and each spore can give rise to one bacteria. So under unfavorable conditions, they reproduce by spores. They produce spores. Because why spores? Because these spores are very resistant, the hard structure which can survive in extreme conditions. And in some of the bacteria, you will find sexual reproduction also. Sexual reproduction is not the advanced type of sexual reproduction where two partners are there and fusion of gametes is there. It's not of that sort. But here the sexual reproduction is by adopting a primitive type of DNA transfer. DNA is transferred from one bacterium to another. So that is the kind of very simplest form of sexual reproduction which is formed, which can be seen in some of the bacteria. Now in this diagram you can see the binary fission is taking place. The DNA is divided because in binary fission what is happening? The genetic material has to be divided so that it can be equally distributed in the two daughter cells. So the cell is dividing, cell wall is present, below the cell wall cell membrane is present, and the DNA will divide. There will be constriction in the between, and ultimately the bacteria will divide into two. So this is binary fission, and this is the most common form of reproduction which is present in the bacteria, asexual type. Now mycoplasma are the organisms which do not have cell wall, and mycoplasma because they are the smallest living cells known. So one mark question, smallest living cells, that is mycoplasma, and they can survive without oxygen. So that means they are anaerobic. They can survive without oxygen, and many mycoplasmas are pathogenic in animals and plants. That means they are causing diseases in animals and plants. So this is mycoplasma, and this is all about